Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we kindly invite you to proceed to the place of ceremony. This special event will commence in a few minutes. Bapak dan Ibu sekalian yang kami hormati, kami silakan menuju ke tempat acara. Silakan untuk mengambil tempat, menyebar. Kita akan memulai keseluruhan rangkaian acara ini beberapa saat lagi. Terima kasih. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this Indonesian Cultural Outlook 2026 event will commence with the Indonesian National Anthem Indonesia Raya. Hadirin yang kami hormati, menyanyikan bersama lagu kebangsaan Indonesia Raya.
Indonesia kebangsaan
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. May peace be upon us all. Kami ucapkan selamat pagi, salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, salam kebajikan, Rahayu dan salam budaya. Your Excellency, Minister of Culture of the Republic of Indonesia, Dr. Fadlizon, MSc, Excellencies, Ambassadors, and heads of missions from friendly countries to Indonesia, representing regions from ASEAN, Asia, the Pacific, Europe, Africa, America, to the Middle East. Your Excellency, Chairperson of the Committee for Interparliamentary Cooperation, BKSAP, House of Representatives of the Republic of Indonesia, Head of the ASEAN Secretariat and leaders of international organizations, UNESCO, UNDP, UNICEF, and ILO, also IPA, directors and representatives of foreign cultural centers in Jakarta, the Vice Minister of Culture and officials of the Ministry of Culture, distinguished officials from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, coordinating Ministry for Human Development and Cultural Affairs, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Tourism, and Ministry of Creative Economy, as well as representatives of government agencies, the Cultural Office of DKI Jakarta, the National Archives and the National Library, medias, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Kami ucapkan selamat datang di Indonesian Cultural Outlook 2026. Bapak dan Ibu sekalian yang kami hormati, acara pada hari ini mengusung tema Living Heritage, Shared Future, yang menegaskan kebudayaan Indonesia adalah warisan yang hidup, dipraktekkan, diwariskan, dan terus berkembang serta menjadi fondasi bagi pembangunan masa depan bersama. Ladies and gentlemen, the theme of our event, Living Heritage, Shared Future, shows us that Indonesian culture is a living heritage actively practiced, handed down through generations, and continuously evolving, forming the foundation for a shared future. And through this theme, culture is recognized not only as a national identity, but also as a source of values and solutions contributing to a more peaceful, inclusive, and sustainable world. Bapak dan Ibu sekalian yang berbahagia, pada bagian ini kami mengundang Bapak dan Ibu untuk menyaksikan sebuah dialog budaya, bukan sebagai hiburan, melainkan sebagai sebuah pernyataan. Dangdut sebagai budaya populer yang hidup dan menjadi salah satu potensi nominasi warisan budaya tak benda UNESCO, akan bertemu dengan ekspresi dari timur Indonesia, dihadirkan dalam bentuk kontemporer. Ladies and gentlemen, this first segment invites you to witness a cultural dialogue, not as an entertainment, but as a statement. Dangdut, a living popular culture, currently one of the nominee for intangible cultural heritage to UNESCO, meets cultural expressions from Eastern Indonesia, presented through a contemporary nuance. Here is the fusion of movement and rhythm that brings the heritage of Nusantara to life. Dangdut and cultural expressions from Papua.
Kala ku pandang kerlip bintang nun jauh di sana, sayup terdengar melodi cinta yang menggema. Serasa kembali gelora jiwa mudaku, karena tersentuh alunan lagu semerdu kopi dangdut. Api asmara yang dahulu pernah membara semakin hangat bagai ciuman yang pertama. Detak jantungku seakan ikut irama, karena terlena oleh pesona alunan kopi dangdut. Irama kopi dangdut yang ceria menyengat hati menjadi gairah, membuat aku lupa akan cintaku yang telah lalu. Api asmara yang dahulu pernah membara semakin hangat bagai ciuman yang pertama. Detak jantungku seakan ikut irama, karena terlena oleh pesona alunan kopi dangdut. Ser bunyi darahku, dak dikduk detak jantungku, ser bunyi darahku. Nah, mengapa kamu datang lagi menggodaku? Dulu hatiku membeku bagaikan segumpal salju. Ku tak mau begini, biar hitam biar putih, melangkah berhati-hati, asal jangan nyebur ke kali. Asmara yang dahulu pernah membara semakin hangat bagai ciuman yang pertama. Detak jantungku seakan ikut irama, karena terlena oleh pesona alunan kopi dangdut. Irama kopi dangdut yang ceria menyengat hati menjadi gairah, membuat aku lupa akan cintaku yang telah lalu. Kalau ku pandang kerlip bintang nun jauh di sana, sayup terdengar melodi cinta yang menggema. Terasa kembali gelora jiwa mudaku, karena tersentuh alunan lagu semerdu kopi dangdut. Api asmara yang dahulu pernah membara semakin hangat bagai ciuman yang pertama. Detak jantungku seakan ikut irama, karena terlena oleh pesona alunan kopi dangdut. Karena terlena oleh pesona alunan kopi dangdut. Karena terlena oleh pesona alunan kopi dangdut.
Bapak dan Ibu sekalian yang kami hormati, dari praktik budaya yang hidup di tengah masyarakat, kini kita melangkah pada arah kebijakan dan visi ke depan. Bapak Ibu sekalian, untuk menyampaikan gagasan besar tentang kebudayaan Indonesia sebagai fondasi masa depan bersama, untuk itu kami silakan Menteri Kebudayaan Republik Indonesia, Bapak Fadlizon SS MSc, untuk menyampaikan paparan pada Indonesian Cultural Outlook 2026. Ladies and gentlemen, may we kindly invite His Excellency, the Minister of Culture of the Republic of Indonesia, Mr. Fadlizon SS MSc, to deliver his keynote presentation.
Yang saya hormati Wakil Menteri Kebudayaan Republik Indonesia, Mas Giring Ganesha, Excellencies, Ambassadors, Heads of Foreign Missions, members of diplomatic corps and representatives of international organizations in Jakarta, distinguished heads and representatives of cultural centers and cultural institutions, honorables, Member of Parliament, I would like to introduce Honorable Dr. Sahrul Aidi Mazdaat. He's a good friend of mine. He is now the chairman of Interparliamentary Cooperation Committee of the Indonesian House of Representatives of the Republic of Indonesia, or Ketua BKSAP DPR RI. Distinguished senior officials and colleagues from the Indonesian ministries and agencies, the Ministry of Culture, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, National Library, esteemed cultural practitioners, heritage communities, artists, scholars, and researchers, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Peace be upon us all, Shalom, Om Swastiastu, Namo Buddhaya, Salam Kebajikan, Rahayu, good morning. Happy New Year, and thank you for joining us at the Indonesian Cultural Outlook 2026. As we begin this new year with renewed hope, we are also reminded that the world enters 2026 under a heavy strain. Or, as the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres put it in the General Assembly last week, the world is in chaos. Conflicts, deepening divides, inequality, climate crisis, and disruptive technologies are testing trust within societies and cooperation between nations. In such conditions, culture becomes a pillar of resilience. Culture strengthens social cohesion and shapes how communities hold together, how we sustain dialogue, prevent polarization, and build a shared sense of purpose when uncertainty rises. This direction is also reflected in global cultural affairs. At UNESCO Mondial Cult last October, the world reaffirmed that culture is a human right and a public good, essential to peace, resilience, and sustainable development. That is also the spirit we bring this morning to present Indonesia's cultural direction, what we achieved in 2025 and what will scale in 2026, so that culture can catalyze growth and expand our contribution amid the world civilization as mandated by the 1945 Constitution. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, beyond a reflection of the past, culture is a living force with the power to shape a prosperous and sustainable future. In the Indonesian context, we put culture as a binding power that strengthens social cohesion, a source of identity that shapes our national character, an engine of growth driving economic innovation and prosperity, and a strategic instrument of diplomacy. As I always mention in various occasions, our cultural strength rests on two key narratives that shape our national direction and global positioning. First, it is no longer sufficient to describe Indonesia as a diverse country. It is a mega-diverse country, mega-diversity, with 1,340 ethnic groups and 718 languages representing 10% of the world's languages. We have recorded 2,727 elements of National Intangible Cultural Heritage, ICH, with an estimated 30,000 potential, and 16 elements have been inscribed by UNESCO. We also have 313 National Cultural Heritage Sites with 6 World Cultural Heritage Sites recognized by UNESCO. In 2026, our priority is to manage this vast diversity as a strategic national asset through stronger protection, wider access, and real empowerment for communities as custodians and creators of culture. Second, Indonesia is one of the oldest civilizations on earth. For decades, the out of Africa theory has been a dominant narrative in the dispersal and adaptation of early humankind. Today, archaeological and paleoanthropological evidence invites us to consider additional hypotheses, including out of Asia and even out of Nusantara, out of Indonesia, where humans learn to navigate across the sea. It suggests that the movement of early humans was not a one-way route, but a web of crossings through multi-regional migrations where Asia and Nusantara stand as a critical axis of world civilization. Our archipelago is a key reference point in the global conversation about early human origins, adaptation, and the long arc of civilization, a true mega laboratory besides the diversity. Nearly 60% of the world's Homo erectus fossils have been found in our archipelago, preserving traces that go back around 2 million years. We have the world's oldest cave paintings or rock art, 51,200 years old, in Leang Karampuang, to early human presence in Wallacea and tropical rainforests and rock arts in Muna that already depicts boats and sea voyaging life. This is why 2026 is a turning point. We already have the foundation, strong identity, strong cultural assets, and proven delivery. Our task now is to scale, strengthening cultural infrastructure at home, increasing value in the cultural economy, and consolidating cultural influence globally. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, in just over 1 year of our establishment, we have achieved some measurable outcomes. Director General for Protection of Culture and Tradition, I think he is here. Pak Restu ada sini? Oh, belum ya. In the heritage protection and public access, we preserve 1,250 cultural assets through restoration, conservation, and revitalization. We also conserve and digitize 53,243 museum and heritage collections. We recorded 4.3 million visitors to our museums and cultural heritage destinations under the Indonesian Heritage Agency. This is the increase of 400%. In terms of community empowerment, we mainstream culture at 350 school units through the Artist Goes to School initiative. Across empowerment programs, we engage more than 110,000 participants, strengthening cultural capacity at the grassroots level. We facilitated 102 registrations of communal intellectual property, KIK, in 2025. And finally, we strengthened the historical literacy and expanded public access to national history resources through the 11 volumes of National History of Indonesia, alongside with 5 thematic historical writings. And DG2, the Director General for Cultural Diplomacy, Promotion and Cooperation, Ibu Enda, who is also the host of this gathering. In 2025, we started to strengthen Indonesia's cultural diplomacy, footprint, and cooperation architecture. One of the flagship programs is the repatriation of cultural heritage and artifacts. In 2025, we explored the cooperation with 6 countries and advanced our largest commitment with the Netherlands, repatriating 28,131 Dubois collection fossils from the Naturalis Museum, including the original Homo erectus findings. The Java Man homecoming, as all other repatriation success we had, carries 3 important meanings. First, the restoration of our collective memory. Second, the restoration of Indonesia's place in the human evolution narrative. And third, historical reconciliation, and cultural sovereignty. This is a forward-looking approach where research continues here at its origin and where Indonesian communities are finally recognized as the primary stakeholders of our own heritage. In terms of international engagement, we are proud to host international and regional cultural forums, including Chandi 2025. Chandi stands for Culture, Heritage, Art, Narratives, Diplomacy, and Innovation. And then the Indonesia Pacific Cultural Synergy, or IPACS, and partnering with universities such as the Indonesia International Conference on Cultural Diplomacy, IICCD. We also advance heritage diplomacy covering 6 World Heritage and 3 Intangible Cultural Heritage agendas and started to activate Indonesian cultural centers in 12 countries: South Africa, Australia, the Netherlands, Fiji, India, Japan, Kazakhstan, Malaysia, Poland, Timor-Leste, Turkey, and Saudi Arabia as our cultural front lines abroad. We produce a robust cooperation pipeline through 19 MOUs and 53 cooperation agreement documents alongside joint cultural events with embassies and cultural centers. We ran cultural residencies, supported overseas festival and event promotions. Digitally, our promotional content achieved more than 3 million reaches. And then the Director General for Cultural Development, Utilization and Capacity Building, DG3. Here is Bapak Ahmad Mahendra, he's the DG. In terms of cultural development, utilization, and capacity building, our focus in 2025 was strengthening cultural ecosystems, accelerating digital cultural innovation, and building a national talent pipeline. Until the end of 2025, Indonesian films drew more than 80 million viewers. On digital innovation and talent development, we completed more than 4,300 digital scans of key cultural sites and objects and mobilized 30,000 talents through the National Talent Management Program across music, film, literature, visual arts, and performing arts. And also, by the way, we recorded the highest ever viewers for Indonesian movie. We broke the record twice last year from the movie Jumbo, and then the second one is Agak Lain. That's another movie. So that's a new record viewers for Indonesia. We awarded 208 institutional and individual Anugerah Kebudayaan Indonesia, including 20 awards for foreign individuals and institutions who have championed Indonesian culture in their home countries. We also hosted the Indonesian Conference of Music, reaching 400 musicians and produced 15 collective commitments. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, those 2025 achievements gave us a clear baseline. The outlook for 2026 is turning delivery into a national direction under 5 pillars. First one, we position culture as a foundation of civilization and national direction, grounded in Article 32 of the Constitution and Law Number 5, 2017. Second, we move to integrated digital data-based cultural governance. The backbone is the National Action Plan for Cultural Advancement as a cross-ministerial agendas with 3 ministries and agencies involved. Third, we accelerate the cultural economy as a strategic resource, production capacity, distribution channels, talent pipelines, IP, intellectual property protection, and projects that create value-added growth. Fourth, we strengthen heritage protection that is dynamic and resilient, including disaster-affected heritage, improve conservation standards, heritage impact assessment, and wider access through museums and cultural sites. Fifth, advancing digital transformation and global cultural diplomacy, expanding platforms and partnership, accelerating repatriation and international cooperation. This is how cultural policy becomes a delivery instrument for national priorities in 2026, measurable, practical, and aligned with the Indonesian government's agenda. With the 5 pillars of our framework in 2026, we now translate them into action plans and deliverables. First, for the cultural protection and tradition, through the museum and historical literacy, we will strengthen museum governance through registration, standardization, exhibition, improvement, and conservation capacity. Second, the Indonesian local food movement atau gerakan pangan lokal Nusantara. We will protect local food knowledge and as heritage with local communities as knowledge owners. We will deliver a local food culture festival aligned with the World Food Day 2026. And third, safeguarding living heritage and cultural rights, strengthening advocacy and facilitate public services for local faith and communities. And fourth, we will accelerate cultural value transmissions and talent continuity. We will scale Artist Goes to School movement across 4 clusters: performing arts, visual design, craft, film, animation, media, literature, creative literacy, and implement learning with Maestro through residencies. In this regards, we welcome collaborations with countries and cultural institutions, such as supporting technical assistance and knowledge transfer for heritage resilience, disaster preparedness, and digital transformation. Partner with us on safeguarding, capacity building, heritage digitization, and traditional community empowerments, and strengthen research partnerships and joint programs in museums, heritage sites, and collective conservation, also including for film and other pop culture. On the cultural diplomacy and promotion cooperation, the action plans and programs for 2026 are: first, in the cultural diplomacy and cooperation with international cultural institutions, in 2026 we will strengthen our role in UNESCO through the nomination at the Intergovernmental Committee for Intangible Cultural Heritage, and advance a stronger nomination pipeline. This year's focus including tempe. Tempe is really original from Indonesia tradition, and makyong, join with Malaysia, while we prepare the pathway for future nominations, including dangdut, the one that you just showed, just a little performance before my speech, in the coming cycle, and reflecting why we also celebrate dangdut as a living cultural force in this event. We will also elevate the Sheikh Yusuf Heritage Agenda. Sheikh Yusuf is one of the Indonesian hero exiled 400 years ago, exactly to this year, to South Africa in Cape Town. This agenda already approved also by UNESCO. It's one of the 400th anniversary of Sheikh Yusuf. Through symposiums, publication, and historical documentation, building a multi-country collaboration track spanning South Africa, Sri Lanka, Yemen, Saudi Arabia, and Syria, which also reflects the shared historical footprints across regions. In parallel, we will pursue joint ICH nomination with partner countries where cultural traditions intersect, building shared heritage grounded in mutual recognition and equal ownership. Second, repatriation as a bridge for a stronger cultural partnership following our significant milestone with the Netherlands last year. In 2026, We will expand engagement with other partners, including Germany, Belgium, the US, the UK, India, Australia, and Japan. For us, restitution is pursued as a cultural justice in the modern era, grounded in equality, mutual respect, and shared values. We will also ensure the research remains widely open through joint provenance studies and responsible access arrangement. Third, strengthening the regional and cross-regional cultural cooperation. In Southeast Asia, we will advance ASEAN Maritime Cultural Connection as a basis for joint programming and shared narratives. In the Pacific, we will continue to implement the IPEC's commitments and deepen partnership with Pacific Island countries. We will also strengthen cooperation with European countries in film and museums, especially very close engaged with the French, Pak Duta Besar, thank you very much. With 6 MOUs we signed last year during the visit of President Macron. And also expand community-based cultural ties with Latin American countries, deepen cultural cooperation with the Middle East countries through literature, Islamic heritage and museum collaboration, and scale engagement with African nations, including ICH cooperation and a stronger Bandung spirit cultural agenda, reviving the Asia-Africa Conference in Culture. Fourth, activation of Indonesia's cultural centers and advancing cultural promotion. We will strengthen activation of Indonesia's cultural centers and platforms while scaling promotion through major international stages. This year, we will proactively contribute in major forums such as the Abu Dhabi Book Fair, Venice Biennale, and other upcoming forums such as multicultural programming in South Korea. We will also strengthen digital channels that strengthen Indonesia's cultural presence through platforms such as Read Indonesia for literature and Indonesian Vibes to share our credible cultural narratives. We will also continue collaboration with diplomatic partners for National Day and thematic commemoration, ensuring our cooperation remains sustained. And finally, we will turn cultural assets into public value and global cultural presence through stronger ecosystems, infrastructure, and distribution. The action plan and programs for 2026 are: first, we will strengthen the cultural ecosystem across literature, film, music, performing arts, and visual arts. In literature, we will scale the Indonesian Literature Translation Program, including translation funding support for foreign publishers, stronger literacy festivals and communities, alongside programs such as Sasana Sastra for literary masters, and a translation and literary laboratory to grow talents who can compete internationally. Second, we will push film and music as strategic cultural industries measured by production, audience growth, and international reach. In film, we will deliver historical narrative film production, short film production competitions, local national film festivals, and international film supports, targeting 17 major international festivals in 2026. So we are quite active. Every month we are sending the movie players in the industry to international film festival. In music, we will continue policy consolidation from the Konferensi Musik Indonesia and scaling programs such as Festival Musik Tradisi Indonesia, Kids Song Competition, Gita Bahana Nusantara, Keroncong Suara Nusa, Harmoni Zaman, and Lokofasia. And third, we will invest in cultural spaces and digital distribution because delivery needs platforms. We will expand activation and empowerment of cultural facilities through exhibitions, residencies, and cultural labs. In parallel, we will scale digital cultural innovation through new media activation of public spaces, digital documentation of key heritage assets, content production via Indonesiana TV, and podcast and cultural IP creation. Finally, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we will not be able to deliver these vast-ranging plans and programs alone. Culture is carried by the people and communities, shaped by institutions and strengthened through collaboration. Therefore, I invite all partners in this room, foreign missions and international organizations, cultural centers, the private sector, academia, local governments, and cultural communities to join us in concrete, measurable, and stronger cooperations in 2026. I believe that if we align resources, expertise, and networks behind these deliverables, the results will be visible. Heritage that is more resilient, communities that are more empowered, cultural industries that are more competitive, and Indonesia's cultural presence that contributes to the global peace and development. Thank you very much. Terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Kami mengucapkan terima kasih Menteri Kebudayaan Republik Indonesia. Sebuah paparan yang sangat komprehensif membuka cakrawala tentang bagaimana budaya menjadi kekuatan diplomasi dan masa depan kita. Ladies and gentlemen, a truly comprehensive presentation that has broadened our perspective on how culture becomes a force for diplomacy and shapes our shared future. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, snacks and drinks are available to your choice. Please enjoy and please proceed to the buffet where snacks and drinks are already served. Bapak dan Ibu sekalian yang kami hormati, selanjutnya kami silakan untuk menikmati kudapan dan juga minuman yang sudah khusus kami siapkan bagi Bapak dan Ibu sekalian dan tersedia di buffet di ujung sana. Kami silakan untuk mengambil dan menikmatinya. Kita masih akan terus lanjutkan kebersamaan ini. Silakan untuk menikmati.
Tradisi bakar batu biasa dilakukan dalam upacara-upacara adat masyarakat Papua di Pegunungan Tengah dan pesisir pantai. Tidak hanya untuk menyelesaikan konflik, tradisi ini juga untuk mengucap syukur pada Sang Pencipta dalam menyambut panen, merayakan kelahiran, dan keberhasilan atau menyambut tamu yang dihormati. Corak kain bercerita banyak hal tentang perasaan, kejadian, harapan, perhitungan. Cerita ditenun melalui benang, menjelujur pola, menjadi helai kain dengan teliti, hati-hati, dan cinta. Gempa yang sering melanda Nias membuat masyarakatnya ahli membuat rumah tahan gempa. Teknik pembuatan fondasi rumah itu yang sudah dipraktekkan masyarakat Nias sejak ratusan tahun lalu. Jauh sebelum teknik serupa dikuasai Jepang tahun 90-an. Memahami Indonesia, memahami kita yang kaya.
Sekarang Indonesiana TV sudah bisa disaksikan dimanapun dan kapanpun. Untuk kamu pengguna smartphone dapat mendownload aplikasi Indonesiana TV di Play Store dan App Store. Temukan Indonesiamu sekarang juga di Indonesiana TV.
Ada banyak jenis topeng di Indonesia.
Excellency Ambassador from UAE, we would like this session to be more interactive. Allow me to ask you a question. Maybe you have a certain perspective, you have ideas, you have maybe comments concerning culture and concerning culture diplomacy.
First of all, thank you very much for allowing this opportunity to speak and to tell my thoughts about culture. First of all, thank you very much for the invitation. It's been a lovely event. Culture where we can connect people to people. This is one way. So we can interact, we can learn from each other. And I believe Indonesia is full of cultural activities and events. There are similarities between countries. We do have similarities between culture, activities and events between Indonesia and the United Arab Emirates. I think one very important element which His Excellency Fadlizon, the Minister of Culture, have already stated is the International Book Fair, whereby UAE and Indonesia will reciprocally be invited to be the guest of honors. So it is a lovely moment, and I think book will always tell more stories about cultures, and it will also allow us to explore cultures among our two countries. But I also encourage each and every country which is available here today to also connect. We've heard His Excellency Mr. Fadlizon have already indicated collaboration with many countries, in which maybe France, Saudi and others. So this is one way to expand knowledge, experience and activities in cultural affairs.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Bonjour, Monsieur l'Ambassadeur. Vous avez peut-être quelque chose à dire, quelque chose à partager avec nous. Yes, maybe you have something that you want to share with us. Your ideas, your perspective concerning the culture and cultural diplomacy.
Thank you very much for your question. Let me first say that I was very impressed by Minister Fadlizon's presentation because the Indonesians' priority are quite clear, working on heritage but also developing and promoting contemporary creation. This is exactly what France is also doing on its own, and this is why we have such a vibrant partnership between our two countries. As you may remember, last year during President Macron's state visit, President Macron and President Prabowo Subianto adopted a joint declaration in Borobudur. We call it the Borobudur Declaration to launch a joint cultural partnership, both on heritage and museum and contemporary and creative industries. That's what we are doing, and now we are developing the networks between yours and our agencies, be it cinema, be it museum, be it heritage, whatever the field. We are building for the long term this very useful partnership for our two countries, but also, as the Minister said, for the rest of the world, because in this dire period, culture more than ever is necessary to build bridges between communities and people. So thank you very much.
Your Excellency.
Pak Dubes, would you like to say something?
Yeah, your opinion, your ideas, your perspective, please share with us, share with every guest here.
Okay,
Thank you.
good morning. I'm Prapan, Ambassador of Thailand. First of all, I'd like to congratulate Mr. Fadlison for the Cultural Outlook 2026. Also, thank you very much for the Minister and Vice Minister Giring for the close cooperation we had last year. Last year, we celebrated 75th anniversary of Thailand and Indonesia relations. So we had many cultural cooperations. And of course, we look forward to stronger cooperation in 2026. Thailand and Indonesia have many similarities in terms of culture, and I think there are many ways that we can collaborate even further. So congratulations again on this event. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Thank you. Yeah, we would like this session to be interactive, so that's why we need your opinion, your perspective, maybe your ideas concerning culture, concerning the culture diplomacy, please.
Terima kasih Ibu. Saya Stefan, Wakil Duta Besar Uni Eropa, and among my functions there is a very important one. This is to boost our common understanding, to bring peace and tolerance among our peoples. And this is the project of Uni Eropa in Indonesia. So, of course, one of our main partners is the Ministry of Culture. So, but we would not do anything without our member states. The minister has mentioned France. It's also my country of origin. But we have also 27 other countries, from Austria to Spain, from Sweden to Greece. And all these countries have a strong culture. And this is why each of us, the 20 countries of Europe and Uni Eropa as an institution, we work closely with Indonesia. And you will find always Uni Eropa and the 27 member states with you to promote culture, because it's important for building a stronger Indonesian identity. And last but not least, we have the same motto. Bhinneka Tunggal Ika is the motto of the European Union for decades, united in diversity. So long live to our friendship between Europe and Indonesia through culture.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Ambassador, we would like this session to be interactive, so that's why we would like to ask you your opinion, maybe your perspective, your ideas concerning the culture, concerning culture diplomacy, please.
Well, I hope so. We will have more cooperation next year between Indonesia and Russia, because we share same values, same traditions, I hope. So even we are very distant from each other. And I hope we will send more people from Russia to introduce here my culture of my country and traditions of my country. And we will be very glad to see more Indonesians, writers, singers, dancers in Russia to promote your cultural values. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Hello, how are you? We would like this session to be interactive, so that's why we would like to know your opinion, maybe your comment or ideas. Please share it with us, with all the audience.
Thank you very much, firstly, to the Ministry of Culture for inviting all of us for this presentation on the outlook for the year 2026. I think the Honorable Minister gave a very, very comprehensive speech and outlined the priorities of Indonesia. We're very happy to be partnering with Indonesia in several areas in the field of culture, and we hope to build on this wonderful relationship that we share with Indonesia, and we wish all the best in the endeavors of the ministry. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Bapak dan Ibu sekalian, kami silakan untuk melanjutkan menikmati aneka kudapan dan juga kebersamaan dalam event yang spesial ini, Indonesia Cultural Outlook 2026. Bapak dan Ibu sekalian, kami mengucapkan terima kasih atas perhatian Bapak dan Ibu dan kami silahkan untuk lanjut menikmati hidangan. Dan sebagai penutup, kami menghadirkan sebuah ekspresi seni yang dibawakan oleh penari Papua diiringi dengan lagu Tabola Bale sebagai representasi praktik budaya yang hidup dan terus berkembang. Dan ini merupakan akhir dari kebersamaan kita. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our last performance featuring Papuan dancers accompanied by the song Tabola Bale.